Honorable Ministers of the V20, Excellencies, distinguished participants, I would like to thank you for the opportunity to deliver this message on the very important V20 Ministerial Dialogue. As you all know, Ethiopia served at the presidency of the V20 from 2016 to 2018 and actively promoted our collective agenda. In particular, we began the G20 V20 dialogue in disaster risk financing and insurances, which contributed to the establishment of V20-led Sustainable Insurance Facility, which is now enabling international premium subsidies and capitalization support to improve affordability. I would like to congratulate my fellow V20 chair countries, the Marshall Islands and Bangladesh, for maintaining the momentum in making our voices heard, increasing our chance of seeing the types of economic and financial shift we have been advocating to materialize. I would also like to congratulate Bangladesh on the introduction of the Mujib Prosperity Plan. I encourage V20 economies to follow the President's lead in crafting their own prosperity plan as strategic investment paths for providing robust socio-economic growth that is optimized for climate adaptation and low or carbon neutral development. Honorable Ministers of the V20, Excellencies, distinguished participants, the Ethiopian government has taken significant actions to combat climate change. In 2011, the government declared its domestic commitment by adopting the climate resilient green economy, which we call CRG strategy, setting out 60% greenhouse gas emission reduction by 2030. In 2012, the government of Ethiopia has been undertaking a number of climate change mitigation and adaptation initiatives across key sectors. The government has also introduced and strengthened institutional structure that support the realization of this CRG vision. In 2015, we integrated climate change into Ethiopia's midterm development plan, which spans from 2015 to 2020, with a clear greenhouse gas emission reduction targets. Ethiopia has also submitted one of the most ambitious national determined contributions to the UN FCCC. Building disaster climate resilience and green economy is one of the strategic pillars of the recently launched Ethiopia's Prosperity Development Plan, which is covering the 2021 to 2030 period. Recently, Ethiopia has also submitted its updated NDC to the UN FCCC, which aims a combined conditional and unconditional emission reduction targets of 68.8% by 2030 from the business as usual trajectory. Climate change adaptation has received adequate treatment and focus in the updated NDC. Ethiopia has been also financing its climate change mitigation and adaptation actions from its own resources and funding received from the bilateral and multilateral partners, which we are very grateful for. The government of Ethiopia also allocates huge part of its budgets to sectors which have significant climate change mitigation and adaptation contributions. However, the financial support from developed countries to support the climate change and mitigation initiative in developing countries is far below the promises and agreed mobilization targets. Developed countries that have not made their contributions to ensure the 100 billion per year support, we request humbly and kindly to take immediate actions to fulfill the climate finance mobilization targets well before the COP26 Glasgow event. We also encourage them to increase the provision and access of climate finance to vulnerable countries to adapt to the impact of perceived and anticipated climate change impacts. Honorable Ministers of the V20, Excellencies and distinguished guests, we request more public and grant-based finance and also concessional loans to allocate for adaptation, which has a lower private finance leveraging capacity than mitigation, as you all know. Individual developed countries must indicate how and when public international climate finance to scale up to at least 50% adaptation resources. We urge also the IMF and other international financial institutions to jointly assess gaps and failures in international finance and propose workable and practical solutions considering debt sustainability. Finally, I would like to reiterate that the failure to deliver climate finance don't have to be permanent. The the G7 countries can quickly enable financial, technical, and technological support from multilateral and bilateral development partners. We would also like to support the V20 work plan and this important ministerial decision within the Climate Vulnerable Finance Summit. Let us also strive to devote with the V20 vision and combine our forces for maximum effect on climate actions. I thank you.